Welcome to the May edition of North St. Paul Notes. I'm your host, Paul Anderson. Coming up in the next half hour, we're going to learn about some upcoming events in our city, including the History Cruiser Car Show, the Silver Lake Splash, and the Fall Roundup Parade. Stay tuned. North St. Paul Notes is straight ahead. Hello and welcome to the May edition of North St. Paul Notes. We hope this show will keep you up to date on the news and events that are of interest to the residents of North St. Paul. Today we're going to learn about some upcoming events in the city. I'm joined by Paul Huliston to talk about the Friday night History Cruiser car shows, Elizabeth Kolbeck with the Fall Roundup Parade, and Ingrid Kohler with the Silver Lake Splash. Well, we've got a crowd here, so welcome to all of you to the show.
Thank you, Paul.
And it's a return visit for all of you. I know you've been on other years, so you're veterans now, and there won't be any problem in finding something to talk about. So, Paul, we're going to talk about the car show first because that starts early. And I should add that I have a little prop here. Others brought props for their subjects, but I brought this as a prop that I was most interested in because that's the era of cars that I was most interested in. This was my first 1931 Model A. That was my first car, and I bought it for $100 in 1951, and I was able to get it. My parents, of course, didn't want me to have a car. I was only a sophomore in high school, and in fact, when I got the car, I didn't even have my license yet, so that was really kind of strange. There's more stories about that, but I won't get into that right now. But anyway, I got this car because I had a paper route. It was a rural paper route between North St. Paul and Gladstone, and that was considered rural at the time. And so I had all of the area between the two towns, and so that was quite an experience. I had it for 1 year, and then the car gave out, and so I gave up the paper route, but I was ready to give it up anyway. That was when we delivered 2 papers a day. So I had about 135 customers between North St. Paul and Gladstone. It would be much more at this time. So, but anyway, Paul, let's get back to this.
Yes, Paul.
When did the car show start? It's been a few years now.
It's been a lot of years, actually. It started as part of an event with Crazy Days.
Okay,
and,
sure.
The old Fall Roundup. It became a Friday night event. That gets to be questionable, but it should be 23 years this year.
23, wow.
We became the History Cruisers in '94.
Right.
But before it was just a group of people that put the show on. We kind of, organized ourselves a little bit. But it's been going on a long time.
Okay.
And depends on who you talk to, and some people will tell you they remember, I remember that show back in '89. Well, okay, and then they say, I remember, years that we weren't having the show. So it's been around a long time.
And it's been continuous.
Yes, it has.
Okay.
It has.
I know that John Pontrelli, former councilman and owner of Max Dinette, was one of the initial people that started the program.
Yeah, it was John's brainchild. He came up with the idea, and he still is involved.
He is, okay.
Yeah, he put lots and lots of hours into it, and it was a very small, 30 cars that show up.
Sure.
You know, and it was right in front of Max Dinette.
Yeah.
Now we have over 1,000 cars show up.
1,000 cars
Yeah,
now. Goodness.
So it's gotten very large.
Yeah. I always remember John cooking during the car show. He couldn't even be out and enjoying it. He was cooking hamburgers in the diner, and I thought that was kind of strange, but I guess somebody had to run the restaurant too.
Capitalism, you know.
Yeah, that's right. How many years have you been involved?
This is my 11th year.
11, okay. Yeah. And if people don't know you, they don't realize perhaps that you're kind of a gatekeeper down on the, or at least you used to be. Is that going to be your role again this year?
Oh, you mean down on
Down
First?
on First,
yeah,
First
yeah, that's
and,
usually where
7th
I
Avenue.
am. Once the show starts, I usually am down there all night.
Yeah, you sort the cars out and make sure that the right ones are going down the street.
Well, I'm trying not to get run over.
Yeah, yeah, you've perfected that part of it at least.
Well, so far.
So far, yeah. And how much area does it take, or is it going to take this year? How much of the main street?
It'll be the same perimeters that we've always had. It'll run from First to Charles on
Okay.
7th Avenue.
It isn't expanding any more than at this
Not
point?
at the present time, no.
Yeah.
It becomes a little tough logistically to go any further east.
Right.
Yeah, or west, actually. From
Right.
that, there's some residences involved after that, and
Right.
those people need access to their homes.
Sure. And I recall when things weren't quite as friendly downtown, some of the businesses really didn't think it was benefiting them much, but I think that a lot of that has changed now too.
Yeah, it has. There were people that, you know, didn't quite see the benefit of it, but that's pretty much worked its way out over all these years.
Sure.
Obviously, because we're still around, so.
Right. Any idea of how many people attend each year, or each night, or it's pretty hard to estimate at that, I imagine.
Yeah, it's very hard to estimate, but we figure that if we averaged it out, it's probably about 5,000 to 6,000 a night.
5,000 to 6,000.
If you average it out over the 16 weeks. There are nights we have much bigger crowds than that down
Right.
there. But there's really no way to count them, but, you know, if you look down the street,
Yeah.
kind of looks like the state fair. You know?
Yes.
It really
I know it.
does. It's very
So
nice.
there's a lot of people down there.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think the businesses that are operating during that time do benefit too. I think a lot of attitudes have changed.
Yeah, well, everybody seems to, you know, believe that it's good for the city now.
Sure.
It's good for them. We try to make it good for them.
Yeah,
That's why we're there.
right. And each year, I think that you do meet with the city fathers to determine how to proceed the next year. And does that usually work things out pretty well?
Yeah, it almost becomes a routine now unless something special is going to happen
Sure.
in town that's going to interrupt things. But yeah, we all get together and everybody's pretty much on the same page. And you know, we got all the bugs and the kinks worked out, or at
Yeah.
least we think we do.
Sure. Well, when does it start this year?
June 3rd,
June 3rd, and it runs until,
September 16th.
is there any date in between when it won't be held?
Only if it rains.
Okay, rain is the
But
only
it's a
factor.
continuous thing.
I know a lot of people don't like to leave their cars out in the rain.
The hail doesn't do much more.
The hail too, that's another thing. Okay, well, we may get back to some of that too later on in the program, but I wanted to give Ingrid Kohler a little time to talk about the Splash, the beach event that happens every year, or has been happening every year. How many years now?
This is the 6th annual.
6th, okay.
6th annual, I think. Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
which
tell
is-
us why it started, or what.
It started because one of our neighbors read a little thing in the city newsletter that said, "Oh, the beach will be closed." And my neighbor who lived across the street, Lynette Olson, informed me of this and said, how do you feel about this? And our little kids had learned how to swim there. And
She knew how you felt before.
oh, she knew. She knew. Essentially, it went like this: Ingrid, look what's happening. We can't let this happen. So we started just walking around. It was very grassroots. We just started walking around and talking to lots of neighbors and just bringing a petition too,
Yeah,
because
right.
we knew how we felt about it, and would like people, if they felt the same way, would like them to at least communicate that to the city. So we took the pulse of the neighborhood and kind of figured out how people felt about it, and a lot of people did feel the same way we did. So then we went to City Hall and talked to the council and said, could you please reconsider removing and they weren't going to close the beach, as in,
Right.
padlock it or anything, but they weren't going to have any lifeguards there, which really, that was a problem for us, because we really thought that was pretty important for the neighborhood, for the safety of the kids, first of all, but just in general for the neighborhood, because the lifeguards act as a sort of a police force, or
Sure.
a stabilizing factor down there. And so that's how it started. What happened was we said, well, now that we've got everybody kind of riled up about this, and brought the attention to it, and we thought, well, let's see what we can do to help with this funding issue. And we left that council meeting going, yeah, so why don't we, plan an event where we can raise some money? And then we walked out of there and thought, what did we just say we would do? We're going to have a party. And we didn't know how many people were going to show up.
Sure.
And we did have about 1,000 people that first year, someone estimated, which is I think we had, maybe 5 weeks to plan it. I'm not sure. But but since then, we've had several of the same committee members, some new ones, and it is like the car show. It's an event that's dependent on the weather. It's outside, and there's no plan B. Really, it would be impossible to kind of move the whole party to a gym or a community center or
Right.
anything like that. So it's kind of one of those things. I'm sure, Paul, every Friday late afternoon, you look at the sky and you go, oh, please don't rain, please don't hail.
I always see Paul there because he's directing traffic again at the
Oh,
at your program.
and Paul helps out at the Splash, too. And so the
That's
Splash,
right, yeah.
let me use my little visual if I
Okay.
could. The Splash this year, the Silver Lake Splash, is on July, it's always a Sunday afternoon from 1 to 5. July 17th is the magic day for that. It is fun for the whole family. It has great old school carnival games, pretty low tech, but fun. We have a candy wheel, and we have crafts, and we have beach-related activities.
A dunk.
And a dunk tank, yes, which I believe you were in one of our early years.
No,
Did you?
no.
You never did. Well, perhaps, I'm sure we have room for you this year.
I'm sure you do, but,
But
don't hold your breath.
yeah, okay. But community members
It
help
takes
out.
the younger people like Terry Furlong
Right.
and others.
I think we already have Terry signed up.
Probably.
This year, and he's helped us every other year. So it's fun for the whole family, and it's a fundraiser. So you buy some tickets, you play some games. There's a silent auction. There's live music, and a raffle. Which has I'm sometimes allergic to details, so I'm not going to remember the amount. But
Allergic.
I believe the winning. I better not say, but
Okay.
at least $200 is raffled off. There are two cash prizes
Okay.
in a raffle.
Sure.
So that's fun too. And we have Any Day Now we'll be playing, and we close off the street. And just we've been lucky, knock on wood. We've been lucky with the weather.
Sure.
And have had some just really fun parties down there at the
Well, I know there was a history of events up on Silver Lake
Yes.
in that area, and
Yeah.
for 30 years the Historical Society sponsored the water ski show,
Yeah.
and that was very popular.
Yes.
but when that was decided after 30 years, I think that was a 1 year we were rained out.
Yes.
That was a pretty good record, and it was
Yes.
kind of unusual that we could get by that long. But
And that was in August, I believe.
that's right.
Yeah.
And so this kind of took over that activity up in that area.
Yeah, we discovered that people like to have a family event to be able to go to. It's a community event, you know, and it's fun to see people of all ages there.
Sure.
But it's really kind of fun to see families coming together, and they might meet another family that lives just a block away, and you know their kids might play together or swim together. So that's what I like about it. That these events, like the ice cream social that I attended many years with my little kids too,
Sure.
And the splash and the Roundup parade and the car show, they kind of all just bring people together and sort of bond the community, I think.
Sure.
So.
And you do use a lot of volunteers.
Oh.
How many do you have?
We have about 60 people, over 60 people that are involved in helping make it happen. Because it is really, there are so many different parts to it. And businesses that support us by maybe just a cash donation, but also other people who've helped us with signs, donating things to our silent auction. I'm looking at Liz because she has done that. Bachenwood donates to our silent auction, and just really, it's really a fun way to actually connect with businesses too, and other people in the community that like to support North St. Paul events. So, yeah, and Paul is very helpful. He's our gatekeeper at down at the end. We're very grateful for all you do for us
Make sure that
too.
the right people go through the
Right,
gate.
right. That cars aren't driving through,
That's
really,
right.
because it's got to have only a few people coming in, unloading equipment, and
Right.
the vendors for food.
So that's important too.
Yeah.
So are you always looking for more volunteers?
Thank you. Yes, we are.
See, I knew the answer
Thank
to
you.
that.
You knew that answer. Thank you. We are always looking for volunteers. So if you are interested in helping out at a game or helping sell tickets or some behind the scenes thing and you can't be there that day, we would love your help. And I would say you could contact us through the city website,
Sure.
northstpaul.org, right?
Okay.
And you can find out more about the event by going to northstpaul.org/events. But if you go to the city's website, that's
And
a
that
good
goes
place
for
to start.
any of these events. They would be listed in that website.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is an event that requires a lot of help from volunteers. So
Well, it's been a welcome event, and I think
thank you.
a lot of people aren't aware of the fact that it is funding the lifeguards, and I think that's important to let people know about. Because
Yeah, all that money goes straight to keeping lifeguards at the beach.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone appreciates having that happen, so hopefully it won't rain again this year.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah, right. Well, Elizabeth Kolbeck has been chairing or coordinating the Fall Roundup Parade for how many years now?
This will be my third year.
Third year. And every year there's a question, well, should I do this again? Admit it.
Last year was a nail biter. So
Oh, okay. So,
it rained all day. Rained the
Oh.
night prior and then all day. And
okay. But it didn't rain on the parade, on your parade.
I was watching
Literally.
the weather radar and conferred with Paul there for the last few hours, and we saw a little break. Looked like about a half an hour break right over North
Really?
St. Paul.
Wow. Wow.
And we just said, we're doing it.
It's a tough call.
It is.
It
It
was
is.
So many.
So you really couldn't hold the parade if we had a rain
You know,
event.
and part of the weather that day was kind of on the serious side too. And
That's another problem.
in a parade, just like the Friday night car show, there's a lot of car owners that are involved.
That's right.
And animals.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Yeah.
small children. So a lot of times, even if I would say, as I did last year, that the parade will go on, all the individual units kind of have to gauge what's best for them, and many did choose to bow out, you know, because
Sure.
of their circumstances. So,
Yeah.
but that was kind of a thriller,
Little
making
tense.
it through that little
Little tension.
window.
in there.
Yeah.
Wow, that was interesting timing. Well, hopefully it won't happen this year.
Yeah.
You'll have better weather.
Fingers and toes crossed.
So after all this time coordinating this event, you must be getting good at it. Or is that hard to say?
Well, that's for others to say.
Okay. Well, I think everyone I've talked to seems to be pretty happy with it, and
Good.
it's one of those jobs that is hard to fill. So, and you have a business in town. What is your business again?
It's Bachenwood Hair Studio,
Okay,
a little salon right on 7th,
right next to Subway.
in the same building as Subway.
Okay,
We opened in 2008, and we love our little corner of North St. Paul, and
Yeah.
are active in the community and try
sure. Yeah, well, it makes a big difference.
to.
And
Yeah.
what's the date of the parade this year?
It is Thursday, September 15th.
September 15th. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, actually kind of kicks off the last day of the car show. So the last car show will be the following evening on Friday.
Okay. So the Thursday is the parade, and then Friday is the last car show.
Yep.
Okay. Anything new this year coming up?
Well, since we're recording on the early
It's pretty
side,
early yet.
Yeah. I think I have about 10 applicants in, and you know, the color guard, honor guard. Let's see, we've got the Polar Ridge is
Oh,
in already.
Okay.
Jomar Farms and their little horse and buggy, they've
Okay.
applied. So yeah, we have, for how early it is, 10 is a very good number right now.
Sure.
So
Okay. How many units do you typically have registered?
Typically we see about 60. I think we probably would have to cap it off at about 70,
Oh.
just because it gets dark.
That's always a problem, is the light that's available. So gets hard to operate, or for people to view
Right.
if it gets too dark. I
Yeah.
remember that was frustrating
Yeah.
for some.
Oh, the district band also has their application in.
Good.
So they're always
Good. Bands are always
good
Good to
on.
have.
Yeah. They're a great
uh,
band.
It'd be nice to have more, but
Yeah. And they come. Last year we had bagpipers,
okay.
and they weathered the rain with us. Or it did clear up, but we were all huddled in our cars, waiting in the lineup, going, "Okay, is this really gonna work?" And here come the bagpipers, warming up their bags, and we're like, "Oh, yeah."
You
So-
don't have any problem hearing them.
No. No. So everybody knew they were there.
I was involved with a group in back years ago where we would rehearse. This is a singing group, and we rehearsed at McAllister College, and the bagpipers were always there and part of the building, and no matter what part of the building they were in, you could always hear them. So I had memories, not always pleasant.
So you always had to sing in the same key as
Yes,
them.
right. Yeah.
Paul, those were the bagpipers that were there last year.
Oh, is that
my
right?
gosh.
Okay, yeah. There aren't that many groups, bagpipe groups in the Twin Cities, so
Yep.
it figures that would be that group. So, well, it's always interesting to see how the parade comes out, and it's been different every year, I think, in some ways. So,
Yeah.
but it's a good event, and I think people do appreciate it. They turn out for this.
It's
for this
such a
parade.
great event, and that's the wonderful thing. Even though the weather had been bad for 17 plus hours, those sidewalks were filled with families.
Yeah.
You know, and they were so excited and thanking all the participants for coming
Right.
out, and we were
Yeah.
thanking them right back for
Yeah.
being there. And
Sure.
so, yeah, it's just a great deal of fun, and all the participants that are all the units that are in the parade really focus on the community and try and give back to the people that are there watching the parade and make it entertaining and great for families. Giveaways, lots of giveaways. There's food vendors there that are sometimes there at the Friday night car show.
Sure.
So it's just, it's a great opportunity for families to get out of school, get out of work, hit 7th Avenue, grab some good food truck food, sit down on your blanket and hunker down, get some candy, get some goodies from the parade participants and enjoy.
Sure, it's one more reason to focus on the downtown.
Yeah.
I think that's good for the downtown area.
Definitely.
So, well, I appreciate all of the folks who do volunteer for these things, and you use volunteers also.
Yes.
How many do you typically have?
Well, we have many volunteers actually on the day. Of course,
Paul's there again.
is a big
It's good-
part of that
Good
as
thing
well.
he isn't at 1st and 7th Avenue. He wouldn't let some of the parade go through.
And so he has a really great crew that he works with on Friday nights that come in and help
Okay,
during the parade
sure.
to help for the lineup. We have a couple of special guys that also come in and join that group, and we're on walkies communicating with each other, making sure the lineup is in order and people know where they're going and what they're doing. And yeah, so, but as with everybody, we're always looking for people who would like to
more
be involved.
volunteers.
Go on the city website, find out how to contact the parade coordinator, and
Sure.
we'll get you set up with a way to help out.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
We only have about a minute left, but so I guess I just wanted to mention the fact that you are all volunteers, and I think that that's typical of a lot of people in North St. Paul, and I think it's always appreciated, and it's always, for some, it's a puzzle, I suppose. Why do they do that? Why do they give all that time? And I guess we won't have time to go into all of that, but I think there is a lot of satisfaction in being a volunteer and contributing something like this to the community. So I want to just thank all of you for what you do. It's been a good experience for me to watch and see what's happening. So first of all, the date for the splash again?
July 17th from
Okay.
1 to 5.
Okay, and Liz?
And the parade is September 15th. That's a Thursday, and
Thursday.
the parade rolls promptly at 6:30.
Okay. And the parade, or the car show runs from
June 3rd to September 16th.
September 16, okay. Well, Paul, there are a number of special events connected with the car show. Can you just mention a few of those?
Sure. We start out on the first night where the City of North St. Paul has a public safety open house at
Oh, that's right.
City Hall and the Fire Department, which is only a half a block up Margaret Street.
Sure.
So that works out very well to coordinate. We have the St. Paul Canines from the St. Paul Police Department. They're out twice a year. The mounted police are out a couple times a year. We have American Red Cross blood drives. We're having 2 this year. We used to just have 1. On September the 9th, we're going to do our 9/11 tribute,
Okay.
which has always been pretty popular. Of course, we have to worry about rain at all times.
Right,
but
sure.
There's a couple others that are pending. That's still in the works. It
Okay.
might happen and might not. It's
Sure.
just, we try to bring in, just something different, something to entertain. And so hopefully we'll fill it all out. But we
Sure.
have quite a few already lined up this year.
Okay, thanks, Paul. It helps to know some of the additional activities that will be taking place. So
You bet.
thank you all for being on the show today. We've been talking to Paul Huliston from the History Cruisers, Ingrid Kohler from the Silver Lake Splash, and Elizabeth Kolbeck from the Fall Roundup Parade. So thanks again
Thanks
to all
for
of you.
having us.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We're out of time on this month's show. Join us again next month when we'll bring you more news about North St. Paul. I'm Paul Anderson, speaking for everyone at the City of North St. Paul. Thank you for watching.